Our state has some incredible problems. My name is Lynn, Hinderaker. I'm here to talk about that with you and talk about the trends that have shaped this state and dragged us in one direction or another. We're not really we're not realizing the dream we had way back in the early 2000s or even around 2008 or 9 or 10. My name is Lynn Hinderaker. Welcome to WowBiz Nebraska. We're going to get it on right now. Do you have a wow factor at your company, something that cultivates loyalty and even excitement on behalf of the customer? Well, you're going to find out right now what a wow factor can be and why it leads to a sense of loyalty and maybe even paying a little bit extra for your product. I'm going to start out with a very simple analogy here, and that has to do with coffee. We all know, and let's pretend now. We'll do a little symbolism, and I'm sure you know I do a lot of that. So a salesperson for your company says, hey, you know, here's our product. You've bought it many, many times. It's really a good product, and thank you so much for spending a lot of money on it over the years. Again, this is a symbol of a standard product that you and your company buy from a vendor. All right, that's what we're doing here, a little game, a little metaphor. So you say, no problem, we've been buying this product for a long time, and no problem, thanks a lot, guys. I got to get in the truck and head home. Bye-bye, bye-bye. Okay, same deal, same process, same transaction, same price, same profit margin in general for that standard product that your company loves to manufacture, put up in the back of the building and bring out and sell, and you're in business. There you are. What happens, though, as you know, in this day and age, your customer kind of looks around, you know, they're aware of what's going on around them, and they actually may step over to your competitors. They may talk to somebody on the video, or they may go to the building, whatever it is. And this is what your competitor is serving up. Same kind of product, does the same kind of functionality, but there's a little extra to it, see? There's a little extra something that they provide, and the price doesn't seem to be much different. This would be a lot, now we're going back to the coffee analogy right now, this would be a lot like using some coffee creamer, putting some creamer inside the coffee. And by the way, the packaging, as you can see, is a little snazzier than the standard product that you've been serving to your customers for many, many years. And they seemingly are happy, and you think everybody's happy, but all of a sudden some of that money is slipping away. Things are looking a little slower with this particular customer, and that's because they're over here, they're enjoying buying a new product, basically very similar, but it's got a lot of exciting packaging, and it's got something that we would call the wow factor. Maybe there's some functionality, something that goes bam, boom, in a way that yours doesn't do that. Maybe they're serving up information, right, that's really helpful and would be useful before utilizing the product or after utilizing the product and so on. And all of those things together kind of boom, like wow, give me some more of that. I'm going to take 2 or 3 of those, take them back to the office. I'm sure my buddies would love to look at that product. I've never really seen this kind of a product before. We buy this stuff, but you know, while you guys have a great product there, I'm sure we're going to be back. My purchasing department's probably going to be giving you a call, so make sure you give us a good price. Thanks very much. All right, so it happened, didn't it? It happened because of the wow factor, because there's emotion in it, and because it's different and new. Now, the owner of the company is probably somebody been around for a long time. He says, you know, people love us, we're great, we stand for the right things, high quality, you know, we have a pretty good price on things, we'll lower it every now and then for our best customers, but, you know, we don't plan on doing anything significant going forward. Meanwhile, your competitors are over here, you don't even know. And they are developing not just one, but maybe 2 or 3 variations on their original core product. Thinking about how to do it cheaper, thinking about how to do it better, broader functionality, maybe linking it or fusing it with some other product or service or maybe material, Absolutely. So before you go even one step further in your business, ask yourself, what would we have to do to evoke emotion, to evoke this idea of Wow, you guys. Oh man, we love that new product line you guys came out with. Who came up with that idea? We're going to buy all our stuff there. Yeah. This goes on. This goes on and on. And people are excited. At the same time, somebody else is very unhappy, and people even getting fired because they let this happen. That's right. I'm Lynn Hinderaker with WowBiz Nebraska. Thank you for joining us here today. We've got a lot to talk with you about, and every bit of it, by the way, is usable, but I would suggest that you kind of give it some additional thought and maybe call the people that you work with and pull them into a room and say, you know, I just heard some stuff like this and this and this. Maybe we should think about doing that as well. That's what we want you to do with the information we're sharing with you today. Now, I'm going to talk to you about this beautiful little pink ball that we have over here. You can see it. It's an exciting, basic little accessory, of course. Every family has it. I have a couple grandchildren that love to play with it when they come over in our backyard. But as I watched the ball, and I see it out of my window, and a breeze will come up. This is when the children are gone. The breeze will come up, and the ball will go here, you know, and the ball will float around over here and kind of go across the yard and so on. And it seems symbolic to me of what happens to so many companies where the winds of change, I'll call them that, it seems kind of dramatic, the winds of change, all of a sudden the ball is not in the same position it was anymore. Now think about your company. What if your company is the ball, right? The ball is perfectly balanced. That means you have a well-balanced organization. It's resilient, right? When you have some issues, it bounces back, huh? It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing to have a wonderful company, that good culture, people who love it, right? All of those elements are wrapped up in this little symbol of your company. Now, let's talk about let's put a handle on it, okay? What goes into a healthy company that doesn't float around in the backyard of your mind and of your industry? Number one, preparation, a planning scenario. Now, I'm sure you've already done this before. Maybe you're bored with it. Maybe you don't come up with any good ideas. But really, for you to be the company you want to be going into the future, you've got to do some scenario planning, all right? You've got to be prepared for whatever comes and whatever wind blows, all right? Number two, you've got to be experimental. You've got to keep trying innovative new things and giving people that experiment a little extra leeway. Don't be rigid with them. Say, show me what it would be. How could it be? What would the future look like if we did this and that, huh? More functionality, higher price. Should we do a premium product? What about a low-end product? What if we just sell a component and we step back and we sell it to wholesalers? What do you think about that, right? This is the kind of thinking that goes into a healthy company. Number three, collaborative and communicative. You know, more and more, especially because of the web, really, you have more people saying, hey, you don't know me. I'm out in Massachusetts, or I'm out in Idaho, or I'm up in Canada, I'm in India, and I kind of like your company. I like how it comes across and the things that you say. I'm just wondering, you know, maybe is there some collaboration potential? Maybe we help you, you help us. We'll give you some tech support, you provide some marketing support. I don't know. Maybe, right? Could be the way to go. Number four, a company that is as healthy and robust as this ball has a shared purpose that is inflating it, that's lifting it up in a way, right? Shared purpose. We all kind of believe in the same thing. We're focusing on the same thing. We're trying to get the same thing done. We're trying to get North Omaha up in speed and South Omaha. We're trying to do some special, exciting things in those communities, right? Create some jobs, new buildings. We have a shared purpose here in Omaha, in that particular area. And then number five, this is the five of the things that a healthy company that is symbolized by this ball stands for, and I would say social responsibility. Social responsibility, we all work together to kind of serve society in a positive way. Now, let's talk briefly about how this particular icon or symbol of business could be deflated or frankly just run all over the yard, you know, blowing winds, goes all over, right? So let's talk about what would make that happen, again, from a metaphorical point of view. Number one, not enough resources. People have ideas, not enough resources for a project. That definitely will blow you off course. Number two, lack of a shared vision for a project. We just talked about the importance of a shared vision. Lack of a shared vision. What are we going for? Who cares? I don't know. He says this and you say that. And I don't know. Call me later. We'll see. All right? How about inadequate internal communications, where employees are dissatisfied because they're being left out of the loop. They don't feel like they're in on the hot project. They're not connected to what's going on inside the company right now. And so once again, here comes the winds of change, the winds of dissatisfaction. Right? There goes the ball and the ball game. And then 5, inability to understand and keep up with the customers. Customers are changing, as we all know. You hear this all the time. But they really are. You give them new access, new technology, AI, all these things they're thinking of. Young people are thinking, I don't like this company. I'm going to go out and do my own thing. All kinds of stuff is going on. And maybe the winds of change are blowing the ball around in the backyard, and maybe you don't fit into the future. That's bad news. That's bad news. So you got to be thinking, what are the 5 things that will keep us robust, resilient, attractive? And yet at the same time, we've got to be asking ourselves, is there anything internally or in our industry, trends, what's going on out there that's blowing us away? We're not getting the business, we're not getting the cash, we're not getting the growth that we need and we deserve. That's right. Pretty exciting, huh? Pretty exciting, and kind of a cool symbol of businesses that are doing well and businesses that are doing not so well. And I hope your company is not in that latter category, but I got to tell you, it's entirely possible to steer your way forward, and we'll talk about in the back end of this show. Now listen to me. This is WowBiz Nebraska. As I mentioned to you before, I'm Lynn Hinderaker. We do quite a show here. We've been doing this kind of show, getting people excited in their living rooms or wherever you're at with your computer screen, whatever it is, and excited about the future. Now, the economy's doing pretty good. This is a time to go bold. This is a time to really think out of the box. And one of those things, I'm going to get a book here. Now, I've talked to you before several times about the sponsor of this show, and the name of the sponsor is Urban Natural America. Urban Natural America is quite an organization. They lead, most companies say, here's our product, right? Well, Urban Natural America doesn't do that. They are prepared to revitalize the entire state of Nebraska, but they lead with a philosophy, because the word urban natural, I'm sure you all know this by now. Urban is one thing, city, industrial, tech, change, right? Natural is rural, organic, relax, right? Serenity. So you get these 2 worldviews, these 2 ideas pulled together into one word, and then you have quite an organization capable of helping you and your company and your community. Let me read to you the philosophy of Urban Natural America, and we'll wrap up. But listen carefully. This is really something. The co-inherence of opposites. That's what Urban Natural is, opposites. Seeing the world as a ceaseless interaction of complementary forces, yin and yang, that's a Chinese talent that predates Taoism. However, seems especially adept at seeing this mysterious collusion of opposites. Now think about the diversity movement in Nebraska right now, and of painting out how our futures to understand how it leads to a host of problems. So here we go. When people see some things as beautiful, other things become ugly. Wow, think about that. When people see some things as good, other things become bad. Right, very interesting. Being and non-being create each other. Difficult and easy support each other, before and after follow each other. So now you understand the importance of opposites and how when they are combined and they work together, they can create traction in your career. They can broaden your scope, your notion of who you are and what you're doing. The organizations that you're joining and participating in, all of them benefit from really working to pull together opposites. Maybe it's opposite kinds of people in the same room. Maybe it's opposite materials and colors on Main Street in your community. Urban Natural America, that's their philosophy. They've been laying it down now for a number of years, and people are picking up on it. It's clever, it's inspirational, and it could be you, your company, your community. Think about Urban Natural America, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to give you the email address right now, or rather the website address, URBANATURAL, urbannatural.com. Check it out. It will be an experience when you watch this particular website. Thank you so much for supporting our sponsors right here on WowBiz Nebraska. Urban Natural America, absolutely a unique company in touch with the times. That's all I can say right now. I could say more, but I can't say any more right now. Now I'm going to reach down here. Hold on. I'm going to reach down here and talk to you about something. This is kind of heavy. It's a thinking person's job, and sometimes we do this kind of thing. We put a big idea, a multifaceted idea in front of you here on WowBiz Nebraska, and if you're an economic developer, and of course this show was designed to serve the economic development community, if you're a mayor, if you're a business leader, I want to encourage you to really think carefully now and reflect upon your own experience and the future of your organization. Now, remember the old axiom of the frog that somebody drops in water, right? A pail of water or something, and turns on the fire, turns on the heat. And the main thing that people talk about with this metaphor is that the frog gets cooked. It gets cooked and dies, of course, because the frog doesn't realize that the heat is going up. It's a slow process, see? So finally, it's too late, and the frog dies, right? It's a very sad thing in a way, but I guess what I'm trying to say is here, the notion that change creeps up on you slowly, 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 so slowly you don't even know what's happening around you, and then you just kind of succumb to it, and your experience is over, theoretically or literally, whatever. But the fact of the matter is, that's not true. That's not true. A gentleman named Adam Grant, who's quite a guy, he was a friend of the gentleman that started Facebook way back at Harvard years ago. And Adam Grant is a prolific writer and so on, but he said that he went to a laboratory, hired a bunch of scientists to do exactly this whole deal with the frog in a container of water. And they were all around looking at him, and they were controlling the temperature precisely, and the fire and the flame and all that. So in the first case, when you drop, if the water's boiling and you drop a frog in that boiling water, the frog will die almost immediately. No surprise there, all right? And that's the beginning and the end of that story. But if you have some water and you put a frog in there, you turn on the water, of course it begins to warm up, but here's the deal, I can't believe I'm saying this. At a certain point, the frog climbs out of the container. They've made that possible to do. The frog couldn't withstand or didn't want to withstand the heat in the water and left it behind. Just like you and I would do in a hot tub, for instance, that's turned on too hot over time. So this is very interesting. And the key point about this whole metaphor is this, and I'm probably jumping around a little bit on it, but once we make up our mind about something, and I'm going to say this, I don't want to offend anybody, but here in Nebraska, this is particularly true. There are probably other places where it's particularly true, but here in Nebraska, when we make up our minds about something, we don't really even want to consider changing our minds or thinking about it in some other way. We're set. This is what we believe. This is what we stand for. Beginning, middle, and end. That's how it goes, right? And so this is a particularly troublesome mindset, and it's all over, really. It's all over. You can't name any one particular group. But probably the younger people would be less inclined to do this because they're kind of, by their very nature, opening up to life as they emerge into middle age. But what we need here in Omaha, and I'm not here to preach today, but we need to rethink and challenge our thoughts and let other people come in and challenge our assumptions. In fact, it's really interesting. This exercise say, what do you believe in? Right? I actually had a lady sit in front of me at a Starbucks once, and she had her hands rolled up. She had her legal pad out with her pen, and she said, okay, Lynn, here we go. Share with me what you believe. I'm ready. And sure enough, for over half an hour, I kept spouting out to her what I believed or what I thought I believed, number one, et cetera, all the way down. It's a very interesting exercise, but the point now, as Nebraska continues to struggle with population, Nebraska continues to lose not just young professionals or college grads. Now we're losing hourly workers. We're losing workers as well as what I would call young professionals. So the situation is becoming more and more urgent. And yet when you talk to people around the state, mayors and economic developers would be an example, but also business owners, chamber people, and so on. And they will tell you, we're doing what we're supposed to be doing right here in our community. We got some kudos for fixing up this house and creating this and childcare. We did some things there and whatever it is, right? They're all busy. They're all doing constructive things. So we now this is them speaking to me again, we can't really, buy into and get deeply involved in this high-level, urgent, high-level dialogue about how are we going to keep people here and how are we going to keep companies here. And if we don't have the right kind of people here, the right kind of companies are not going to come either. And this is all complexified by the fact that, of course, an individual can work remotely and could be working for somebody in Florida or California or whatever. So now it's difficult to know, if you're an economic developer, who are we going after? Are we going after individuals? If so, we need a marketing campaign that's aggressive, man. Or are we looking for businesses and individuals individually? Or what about the fact that these young folks may not like what our streets look like? They may not like our house. They may not like our name. What do we do about all this, see? And meanwhile, it continues and continues. And there's two kinds of people, by the way. There's people who don't actually believe that we can do anything. Well, we don't have mountains, we don't have rivers and lakes too much, other than Lake McConaughey and a couple other smaller ones. So, we're just never going to get them. So we should quit fussing about it and just do the best we can until central and western Nebraska literally don't exist anymore. I talked to a gentleman who is a owner of a lumber yard in Crete. Very bright man. He's been running his business now, I think he said 30 years, something like that. And he said, I will tell you this, Lynn, I can't be quantitative about it or precise, but I can tell you this, every year, going back every single year for years and years, he said the number of products that we are selling, lumber products and so on, gets less. Our customers seem to dry up, go away, I don't know, but they keep getting smaller and smaller. It's not a positive scenario. And so that's why we have to think differently. We have to think differently. We have to ask ourselves questions like, exactly who do we want to come into the state of Nebraska? Do we want fast-selling insurance financial service guys that are all about money? Do we want to go back to the Heartlanders and traditionalists and so on that haven't left Fairbury and they're staying there and they're rural and they'll do whatever they can do? Or do we want what we call urban naturals? They used to be called cultural creatives. I want to say that word again. Back in 2002, they were huge. Just everyone was excited about learning more about cultural creatives. As a result of that, we have Silicon Prairie, right, with Dusty and Jeff right here in Omaha, Nebraska, as a result of that breakthrough in information. So we said, okay, look, I want to learn about this, huh? And they learned about cultural creatives, and they did something about them, and they created something significant and important, entrepreneurial, well developed. So here we are now, 25 years later, maybe a little bit more, right? And we're trying to figure out the same thing, trying to figure out what can we do. And of course, the Riverfront Project in Omaha is a great thing, but it's not enough. It's not enough. And there's a real issue about downtown. Maybe people are leaving all these beautiful buildings, Mutual of Omaha and all that, leaving, working out of their office, working out of their kitchen, whatever they're doing. So we're at a critical moment in Nebraska. And that means that people that are thinking about it but don't get asked to speak. They have all the ideas, they have the research, they have data, but hey, nobody's knocking on my door, nobody's inviting me to speak and share with them what we've worked hard over time. Oh my goodness, so many people have so many wonderful, helpful ideas. They're not being heard. They're not on the right committees. They're not in front of the right people to give, workshops, forums, whatever it is. I don't know. But there is got to be an openness. Say, tell us what you think. What have you learned? What did they tell you? What could we do with that information? How do we fuse it with other previous information? Can we do this? Are we going to get out of this? What's going to happen in the future right here in the state of Nebraska? Well, I'm Lynn Hinderaker with WowBiz Nebraska, and I appreciate you listening carefully to what I'm saying right here and the importance of thinking openly and moving forward after hearing new ideas, new strains of thought, new concepts, new objectives, new goals. I'm Lynn Hinderaker with WowBiz Nebraska. This has been a terrific show, primarily because you're staying right there watching the whole show. You're learning, you're nodding your heads. I know you are. I'll see you next time right here at WowBiz Nebraska. Have a good night.